wanted from the new group.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah,
like when does that start opening up?
It's open already. Dennis Lawson is the only one I'm kind of considering right now of who's been announced.
All right, we're back. Sorry for a little technical difficulties there. My internet decided to go out right in the middle of Zach's thought. So I apologize, one, to you, Zach, for cutting you off, and two, for all you listeners out there who also got cut off. So Zach was kind of talking about space politics, so I'll let him finish his thought there.
Yeah, I think my only point I was making with that is I just wanted a little bit of space politics. That's it, to set the stage for the sequel saga. Yeah, well, I don't need to get bogged down in it, but like a little bit helps set the stage.
Yeah, it really does set a foundation, and I know a lot of people complain about too much politics in the prequels, but it contributed to the events were taking place. So I do think those things are important and need to be flushed out, at least in moderation. So
yeah.
And then we'll just kind of dive into episode 6 really quick. I'll just lay out a few bullets for you. There is one spoiler, but nothing that you haven't already seen in a trailer. So we get the first appearance of, can you guess?
Jedi.
Yep. So you get GUNGI for the first time, which is awesome to see. I just love when you find out stories of surviving Jedi, and it just opens up like all these other questions I have. Like, what about the other younglings that were seen with him in the Clone Wars? Like, what happened to them? Were they still together, or did they die off, or whatnot? But all right, so just to kind of lay the foundation, the space politics for you on this episode. So Clone Force 99 are on a mission. They're delivering cargo to a smuggling ring that's run by droids. So I think it was on a ship. But yeah, it's just this group of droids. And in their encounter, Omega discovers a Wookiee youngling, and it's kind of being held captive and kind of being zapped, so tortured a little bit. And, knowing Omega, of course, she's going to step in and do something. So she does. Her and Echo rescue him. And in the process, they destroy all the droids. And so they get the help from the rest of the Bad Batch. And again, they just kill off all the droids. And he introduces himself as GUNGI. So Tech was able to translate. None of them know how to speak. What's the language the Wookiees speak? I can't remember the name of it. They mention it.
Yeah.
But Tech has that, translator, so he's able to communicate a little bit. And he's trying to get back to the homeworld of Kashyyyk. He was taken away when he was a youngling, so he doesn't know where his family is. He just knows he's from Kashyyyk, and the Bad Batch let him know that they're going to help him out. So they go to Kashyyyk, and they come across this smaller Wookiee tribe who end up being attacked by Trandoshan group who are affiliated with the Empire. They're like carrying out the Empire's deeds and essentially stripping resources from the planet and killing any Wookiees that they come across. And the Bad Batch and GUNGI end up helping out this tribe, hence the name of the episode, Tribe. And they are able to fend off and save everyone. And then it just kind of ends up where, GUNGI still doesn't know. It's not the tribe that GUNGI's originally from, so they're still going to be going out to search for GUNGI's tribe. But there's action in this one. There's fighting. You get lightsaber fighting and everything. So, Zach, it's a good episode to watch. It did seem a little rushed, but I was okay with it, especially coming out of the last 2 episodes we had. It was a good change of pace. But if this episode was amongst other good episodes, it might, fall a little flatter. But I did like it. And again, just knowing GUNGI, and he has one of the best lightsaber hilts out there, and seeing him do his Jedi stuff, like that was that was awesome. So
Yeah, that's enough draw for me to be like decently excited for this episode.
yeah,
Yeah, so I will definitely. I was trying to get to it today, and I got bogged down in work today, so unfortunately couldn't get to it.
no worries. But it really makes me start to wonder, going back to Fallen Order again, like, because this is taking place around that same time as that game, right? What's the timeline?
It's got to be close. Yeah, the timelines have got to be pretty close.
Because like, is this a way that you could cross paths with Cal Kestis
You could, and it seems like
or Saw Gerrera?
Yeah, and Jedi Survivor, they're starting to set the stage for, like Cal Kestis recruiting or maybe potentially hiding Jedi. Like we'll see when the game comes out, but the trailers make you kind of think that they're trying to sort of establish a new Jedi Order, because you see like those like Jedi archives and stuff being reestablished in some of the trailer shots. So that, I mean, could be interesting.
Yeah. But again, I also want to find out, and they probably won't, but those other Jedi younglings that were with him. So I think you had a Twi'lek, you had a Rodian, you had a human. Is it Ithorians? Is that what those like hammerhead looking dudes? Those are Ithor.
Yeah, or Hammer. I mean, that's the name of one of the Ithorian characters is Hammerhead, right? So
right.
Yeah.
And that was one of the youngling Jedi, right? That was part of that group.
Yeah, I think so.
So I hope they at least allude to, but maybe that's just more devastating if you find out like all those others died. But
yeah, man, I really want them. I hope they do this. I want there to be a hidden Jedi Order like that. I'm really hoping that this is a piece of like.
Well, there has to be though, right?
That they retcon of the sequel saga that and that would actually make Last Jedi better. Like that he's intentionally on a planet so that the actual Jedi Order is not found. Like it makes his motivations of being off somewhere else, not doing anything, being old man Luke, like a lot better.
Yeah,
I think, because it's like almost a way for him to like, and it does a better job of like, he obviously knows all the fall of the story of Palpatine and how he corrupted the Jedi and destroyed them. And so like that was my biggest problem, is like he didn't learn, like he knows all this, but yet he did nothing to learn from what happened in the original trilogy. And this would be a way of like, oh no, he did. We just didn't see it in the movies.
Well, but there kind of has to be, maybe not in order, but some kind of grouping where the Jedi are coming together. Because even in the Kenobi show, you have the path where, I mean, it's not like Kenobi was the first Jedi or Quinlan Voss first Jedi to come through that path. So there's a collection of Jedi. And even when we first meet, what's his name? Haja, the pretend Jedi in the Kenobi series, that kid that he's transporting, that actually is a force sensitive kid. So, I mean, obviously there's multiple different younglings or Jedi that are going through this path. So they got to be going somewhere.
Yeah, that's my hope, is that we start to find out through the Fallen Order saga, like that Cal Kestis plays a role in that. Quinlan Voss plays a huge role in that they start to set up a secret Jedi Order that's hidden from the Empire. And then my hope is that what we start to see in like Ahsoka and the Mandalorian is Luke finding that order and then essentially expanding it, but keeping it hidden, which would be so cool. And then like the fact that he would be like, he eventually starts his own academy. Then you get, Kylo Ren and all that good stuff, but then it sort of future proofs the potential for a rogue Sith to destroy the whole order, like where you have all these sects spread out throughout the galaxy. It makes it much more difficult to destroy the entire light side users of the Force. Like that, I think would be so sweet if that's what ends up. That's what the Mandalorian is trying to kind of like Favreau and Filoni are like, okay, we're gonna fix this piece of Luke Skywalker's arc, I'd be so thrilled.
I'd have faith and confidence in that they could pull that one off. I think they could. It also makes me think, me talking about Kenobi, and this probably isn't going to happen at all. But as I mentioned, I've been kind of rewatching all the shows now with the new TV. So I did rewatch the Kenobi series. And there's a little tidbit in one of the episodes, and we've never really talked about it. At one point, Kenobi mentions he has a brother.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah. Because if you remember, he's on that transport with that mole creature, and he's talking with Leia, and he's talking about how he has like visions or feelings or something of his past, and he vaguely remembers having a brother. What if he has a force sensitive brother who is playing a part in this path? Because I mean it might mean nothing, his little tidbit line there, but why would you throw that line in there except for the purpose of, oh, I'm going to make all the fans start thinking there's something to do with this brother? And
see, I think maybe I interpret that. I think I remember that line. I think I maybe interpreted it as him referencing Anakin.
That could be too.
That was like, and that he was using that as sort of an allegory, which would be a very Kenobi thing to do. But
Yeah, that's true too.
Watch that scene.
Yeah, because I think they're talking about Leia's parents, and if she remembers her real parents, and she's like, and they're trying to explain that whole line that she mentions in Return of the Jedi. Yeah. So they're trying to retcon that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he kind of says the same thing, except about her brother. But that's another good interpretation. Is he just talking about Anakin one way or another? Mm-hmm. But I will say, when he is talking, it does look like he's trying to remember, like think back. I feel like he would be a little more confident in how he talks about his delivery versus him like, I vaguely remember like a brother type thing. So I don't know. But again, it could be just Disney messing, or Lucasfilm messing with us and trying to think of things that are not true. So I wouldn't doubt that happening either.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bad Batch. Go watch episode 6 when you can, Zach. It's good. And we'll probably talk Bad Batch next week, because we'll have 2 more episodes that we can kind of talk through. Again, when it's just one episode, and I'm glad we've been doubling up, especially with the material we've been getting recently. So it's been helping a little bit to have multiple episodes to talk through. And yeah, and just around the corner, Mandalorian, it's coming up, man.
It's 4 weeks away already.
Yeah.
Like, it's really coming quick. I just realized that. I'm like, wow, man, it's like really close.
Yeah. And I just rewatched both season 1 and season 2, and oh my, it got me hyped. And I had to go watch Boba Fett then, because that's season 2.5 for the Mandalorian. So
yeah.
It got me super excited for what's about to come out. So
yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about, whether it's about the Bad Batch or anything else that we've discussed today?
I don't think so. Just, yeah, I mean, getting hyped for Mandalorian. Like I said, I didn't realize it's like this close, and we got the poster and the new trailer last week or
that's right, the poster. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited for that show. It's gonna get me hyped back up, I think.
Yep. And we're gonna
be like craving Ahsoka.
Yep. And we're gonna get so many news bits coming up with Celebration on its way. There's gonna be a lot to talk about in the upcoming weeks and months. So
yeah, we're gonna hit Celebration season here very quickly, and that's there's gonna be so much stuff to talk about leading up to Celebration, and that's when my FOMO is gonna really kick in.
For sure. Yeah, so we'll kind of wrap things up there. Just a shout out to all of our social media handles. So Twitter at DepBlockAA23pod, on Instagram at detention_block_AA_23. And then our Facebook group and YouTube channels named Detention Block AA23, a Star Wars podcast. Bring us your follows, subscription, likes, downloads, all of it. Give us reviews. 5-star reviews go a long way for, getting our podcast out there and bumping us up in the algorithms. So we come up on your searches when it comes to Star Wars podcasts. So we greatly appreciate all the support that we can get. And again, with these live chats that we have, bring us your opinions, bring us your ideas, come chat with us live, and we'll let you direct the conversation just as much as we are. So happy to have you come be a part of the show. And just final thoughts. Did you want to call anything out about Last of Us?
Oh,
it's really good. It's really good.
It's so good. Yeah, I know maybe you guys didn't feel this way, but I thought episode 3 was one of the best episodes of television, period. I loved it.
Quality wise, it was fantastic. I mean, they could have made that a movie and it would have done super well. It would, I mean, just the acting, the product, the script, the writing, everything was just amazing. And I think I texted this. I look at it from two different lenses, and from its own, it's like I said, it's a super good product, but I feel like the last 2 episodes, we've made a dramatic turn away from the video games. And that first episode and how closely it resembled the game is what made me so hyped about it. And then there's been, especially episode 2, that's kind of a big change that they made from the story from the game. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Episode 2 or 3?
2. I'm specifically right now 2. The change that they made in 2.
Like what? How Tess dies?
No, that it's not spores.
Oh yeah, they talked about that before the series, though. Is that just cinematic wise that they weren't going to do spores because it doesn't translate to like movie TV super well.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay, yeah, and then the change with the tendrils and how it's kind of like a hive mind almost. Yeah, like that. I thought was like I get the change. It doesn't bother me that much.
And not to say that it's bad or it's ruining the story. It's different. And like I'm coming into Last of Us with a certain expectation, especially if they say it's like supposed to be straight from the game. And then I've been watching like the ending, after episode things, and they'll talk about how we've been trying to keep close to the story and we only have a couple of changes. And so now the last 2 episodes, they've been talking about some changes. And the thing that I really wished out of episode 3 is I really liked from the game that interaction you had with Bill when it was Joel and Bill. Like you're going through the school and the gym and you come across your first bloater. Like when I saw that Bill was going to be in this episode, I'm like, oh man, we're getting that. Or you get caught in his trap. You remember Joel is running through, I think it was still the school. And that's when you first meet Bill. He gets hung up and you're like shooting from being upside down. You're trying to save Ellie by shooting all these clickers as you're hanging upside down. And it was like,
right. Yeah,
it was like one of the best levels, if you want to call it levels, of the game. And then the episode, even though well done, well put together, good piece of TV and movies, but like it kind of made the whole episode also irrelevant to the story outside of that note at the end.
I sort of disagree because I think it's intentionally trying to world build and really tie the viewer to the themes of the show very much. Like I get your point on like, it doesn't follow the like some fun parts of the game.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, for sure. Like I'll be disappointed if there are action sequences, like especially going forward, that get glossed over.
Yeah.
Or they don't bring it. Like if you don't see a bloater in the season, like that feels like a miss. But I do think that they're going to have that stuff. It's just they're getting there. But my thought on this episode is more like they're trying to really seed the tone and the theme of the relationship between characters and love and how that conquers even in an apocalypse. And I think that those themes are super important to establish, especially as you get to episode 9 and the end of the game. So like I think that'll be interesting. Like I like I've heard that feedback too, and I definitely hear where you're coming from, because I see that we're like, yeah, there's like a little bit of disappointment where you miss some of that stuff. I was kind of hoping a little bit for like that Bill and Joel interaction a bit more for sure. I was
Yeah,
surprised that they took that in a different direction.
yeah.
I liked that they made the relationship between Bill and Frank much more like
Oh,
loving and positive. Like that made I was like, this is great. But yeah, I kind of expected Bill to be alive when Joel and Ellie got there, which I think then even explains a bit more of his motivation in the game of being more of a like more curmudgeon and not happy and like or like kind of not liking like doesn't really like Joel that much. So I don't know. I'm
yeah.
still loving this show overall. Like it'll I'm excited to see where they go with it. Oh, did I lose you for a second?
Oh, you're back now. Are
Okay.
you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Can
So
you hear
clearly
me?
we're having a little bit likely my internet because it did go out once and it's getting a little jumpy now, but let me know when you can hear me again.
I can hear you again. You're just a little slow.
Sounds like you can hear me, but I can't. I got a little bit of it. Okay.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. I think I got you now again. I can hear your voice
Okay.
again.
Okay,
Can you hear
good.
me?
Yeah.
No, I lost you.
Shoot.
It just goes in and out, in and out, in and out. I'm texting him right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All
Okay.
right. So if I speak to something that you already said from that episode or the episode of Last of Us, just let me know. Sorry, because it was going in and out. But yeah, I agree. I love the love story. I love that the emphasis they're putting on that. I am definitely okay with the change they made because with Frank and Bill in their relationship, because from the game they obviously did not feel the same way. I think they were they still in a relationship from the game? They
Yeah.
just were in like a bad relationship.
No, they were. It seemed they allude to the fact that they must have had some sort of falling out because he runs
Oh,
off and gets bit and gets infected.
Frank did.
Yeah, Frank does in the game.
Yeah, and I just I'm trying to think of how to put this. I just didn't feel that self where you started in terms of the story of like Joel and Ellie, because I know that there might be other emphasis that the show is trying to bring out, but there is also a focus on Joel and Ellie. And if you look at it holistically, all that Bill and Frank ended up doing outside of certain like um I mean that note that Bill left for Joel obviously made Joel regret what's happened to Tess because Bill's note is saying, fight for the ones you love and defend. And, that's what this is all for. And now Joel feels like a failure because Tess didn't survive. And also Sarah didn't survive. So anyone he loves has ended up dying. But there's also, like I was saying, the story of Joel and Ellie. And all that was done is now they have a truck and some supplies. And it was an hour and 15-minute episode to get you to that point. I think what would have been great, what would have been a good idea is if like you have this show exclude this. I think people would have still watched it, and you could still have that same impact. Because apparently I saw that there was 2 hours of product that they created. There was the director's cut was 2 hours long. And again, most of this episode is the story of Bill and Frank. So you could have that kind of on the side, because like, I don't know, when I'm watching Last of It, and this is just speaking for me, when I'm watching Last of Us, I'm watching it for like the clickers, the story of Joel and Ellie, and I can't think of the name, and the connection is bad, so I can't get the help from Zach.
Yeah, sorry. You're breaking up a bit.
But just kind of this post-apocalyptical scene. Yeah, I think I'm breaking up a bit. Maybe what I'll do is we'll come back to Last of Us on another day. This is getting a little challenging trying to speak through my terrible internet connection. But all in all,
let's come back to it after episode 4.
Episode 4. Yeah, let's watch episode 4 and we can chat again, because that will do a little more. It'll give more purpose to episode 3, I'm sure, as well. But I'm loving the show. It's a great product that's been being put out. Again, my thoughts on it has no indication or impact on how I feel about the show. It's kind of like Star Wars, you know. You can't have expectations, because if you have expectations, the product you get might disappoint you. You just got to enjoy it for the entertainment factor, and the entertainment factor for The Last of Us is top notch. So, all right. Well, I'll wrap up from there. Like we said, we'll touch on Last of Us again in a little bit next week. And sorry for all the connection issues, but we are Detention Block AA23, a Star Wars podcast. I'm Michael Mudge, joined by Zach Alt. And thanks again for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your evening, rest of your week. And we will talk to you next time when we bring 2 more episodes of Bad Batch, episodes 7 and 8 next time. So with that, thanks, Zach, and may the Force be with you.
See you all next time.
Trying to press stop recording and it's not even.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Now you can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I kept pressing stop recording and it wouldn't even do anything.
I wonder if the recording and like being live, like that we were live at the same time, was causing bandwidth issues.
But I've done it all the other times and it wasn't doing anything.
Huh. Interesting.
I wonder. I wonder if Colleen is streaming something too.
Oh, that could be. She's watching a movie.
Probably. But yeah, I mean, this is now I think this is the 5th or 6th one we've done live. And it's the only one that I've lost. I don't know, like, does the cold do anything?
So my wife was texting me while we were recording though, and did say, she's like, I'm hearing all these like crazy noises on the roof. And so the wind is picking up, like, I think it's pretty nasty out there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that maybe has something to do with it. Who knows?
I have not, because I know it's supposed to get like down to 17 below tonight. I guess it's 4 below right now. So it's not, I mean, it's bad, but it's not terrible. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had this issue yet, and it's pretty choppy today. And I mean, we've had it where there's 4 of us streaming, or 4 of us podcasting with it streaming live and everything, and it was doing fine. Has your internet been fine?
Yeah, my internet's been pretty good all day today.
Okay.
My wife is, I mean, I was at the office for most of today, but my wife was said it was fine all day.
Okay. Good thing is that with the editing, I can make it fine. It was just the live portion of it. And we went, what, 50 minutes before any issues?
Yeah.
And no, like going back to Last of Us, I mean, again, it's nothing against the quality of the show or anything. It was
You were
different than what
hoping
I
for
expected.
a certain way of it to play out, and they didn't meet that
Well,
expectation.
and I think the story of Bill and that whole encounter was one of the things I was looking forward to the most. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
see,
Like
we're not even streaming or we're not even live broadcasting. I think you're breaking up again.
yeah. Well, we can end for the night and give you your internet back too.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to hear me chopping up a little bit, but all right. Well, you have a good rest of your night, and we'll talk to you later.